Morning again, this is Gummy, better known as Alan Gasco. I got into a nice little cut down by the river, and I want to teach you all a little something. See this right here? This is the best way. I don't know if you can see it real well, but you see all that moss? That tells you you're facing due north, because moss only grows on the north side of a tree, and you can tell I'm in a floodplain. The waters at one time were up there about this high, and you can see it on all the trees that I'm down in here. Well, this is a real good spot for deer, and in this county I can only take bucks right now. They closed doe season for the season unless you own private land, which I don't own any up this way, and I don't really know any hunters, other people that have private land that I could hunt. Well, this here can save your life. All you gotta know is when you're down by a river, if you walk up or downstream, 9 times out of 10, you will find civilization. Use your ears. Listen for roads, because you'll hear cars coming from miles and miles away, and that can give you a direction. See, now if I was lost down here, which I'm not, and I unfortunately, if I had lost my compass, I would direct myself through the woods. I'd start notching trees, just a little notch that I could see at 50 yards. Every 50 yards, I notch another tree, especially if you're changing direction. If you're facing this way and you're standing in relation this way, you're headed due south. And if you're facing that direction, heading this direction, where the moss grows, you're facing due north, which makes where the sun rises to the east, sun rises to the west. And I'm gonna get sat down up in here. We got a nice little spot that I've had cut out in here where the deer cross. As you can see, there's a mighty big buck that likes crossing this little parcel, and it's really wide open in here. You can pretty much shoot any direction without hitting sticks. Just gotta be careful down here, especially when you're pumping rounds like I am, because 180 grain round will carry through 3 trees that size before the 4th one catches it. And it'll punch a perfect hole that you could put a stick through. Straight into, if I was to shoot through this tree right now, you see that big tree way back there? It'd shoot straight through that big tree and the next one behind it before the round will get caught. Especially when you're shooting 180 grain rounds. It's almost like a little guided missile. So you gotta be aware of where the roads are, where houses are, especially houses, and where you're sitting in relation to the road. Now, I only shoot up and down the riverbed. I don't shoot back that way, because the road's only a quarter mile off. And yeah, I'm gonna find me a nice little sitting post here, and I'm gonna sit in this little cut, because this is a nice warm breezy day like today. This is where the deer come through a lot, because they come down to drink right over here, where in a minute here I'll show you, because where I'm gonna get set up for my perch, which will look back into this. They cross this whole thing when they come through here. So far I've only seen a couple does come through here this morning, but where there's does, the buckies will be following this time of year, because they're in high rut. I mean, I've gotten them stomping and thrashing not too far up from me, and I love the river bottom. hunting, because all those are nice little free seats. All you gotta do is plop your butt down and wait for something to come along. But you gotta be careful, because especially in tangle root like this shit over here, this stuff over here, you get snakes. Could even be a bobcat lying up under there, sun getting in the shade. But this is where that big buck keeps crossing, which it looks like he already crossed this morning, because these tracks don't have any water in them. But maybe if I sit here, see, if I had a boat, that's all state land too. That's all state land right there. But I might be buying a boat this year just for that. And there's an entry back here. Ooh, look at the crane. She mad because I'm over. She got a nest over here in the corner. I haven't seen her with any youngins yet, but she'll circle me for a little bit. Isn't she beautiful? And luckily today I don't have duck hunters in here, because usually duck hunters are right here. But this is where the majority of deer come down and cross, because it's real shallow through there. If I had waders, I could actually walk across this part of the river. But I don't wear waders. It's just too dangerous. I'd rather cross it with a boat, because you never know where an undertow is on shallow water. And if you ever get in shallow water like that, and you get caught in an undertow, don't fight it. Go with it. Hold your breath. Take a deep breath just before it takes you under. And hold your breath until you come back up. You will come back up. Make sure your feet are ahead of you, and you cradle your head. Cradle your head, protect it if you ever get caught in fast moving water. Because eventually you will come out of it and get to a spot where it's a lull and you can get back to shore. So be safe, all you soul hunters out there. Keep in contact with each other. Pair up. If you're a soul hunter and you run into another set of people like I did up in over in Davie County, we were all soul hunters. We paired up for the day because we wanted to watch each other's back, because we're in cat country. Well, that night, and I'll tell you this, it was a little bit scary. I was coming down the hill, and I encountered a big cat coming up the hill. She was on a blood trail. The guy up above me and shot a deer. I get down to I encountered her with this. It was too dark to shoot. I couldn't see her. All I could see was the glow of her eyes, and it was too dark to shoot with a rifle. You're never going to hit a cat in close with a rifle. The only way you're going to hit a cat in close is with a handgun, and I don't carry a handgun. I carry this. This is my regulator in the woods. This son of a bitch will do that and rip out a cat's throat. Just like that. Same with coyotes after dark. Very good weapon. Light. You can throw it. What I do when I throw it is I tie a 550 cord to it, keep it around my wrist, jocking myself up the tree line, because this sucker, if you throw it up around a small tree about yay big, the backside of the hook will hook into it. You can pull yourself up the mountainside with 550 cord. And like I said, I always carry 250 yards of 550 cord in my back pocket. I also have 250 yards that's in my safety bracelet. And see, this is a good spot for deer. And this here, I got down that hill. I heard that last shot in the night, and that guy did get a nice deer. And I got down the bottom of the hill. Him and his dad were waiting for his brother to come down the hill. It was an older man and a young guy. Luckily, that guy had a nice 40 caliber Smith & Wesson. And this is where a lot of people launch their boats from. They drive down in, launch their boats right there. But I went back up into the woods with him and didn't know these people from Adam and Eve. And I went back up in the woods. We had that cat come across us again. We got his brother out with the deer, and that cat hot on our trail. And he was facing backwards coming up the hill, down the hill. We paired up back to back, kept his brother in between us with the deer. Luckily he had a nice big old flashlight on that 40 caliber that he was carrying. And he watched the back and I watched the front. And if I needed to be, we both could have ducked and he could have shot because he had a good flashlight. But I don't normally carry flashlights. I usually only have this hat. Unless I carry my big pack into the woods when I'm going out. When I'm going to stay out in the woods, I usually carry my big pack. Usually I only come in, dragging rope wrapped around me, 550 cord, my little hatchet, which is your lifesaver in the woods. You can use this for anything. Like if you're going through the woods, you get into a thick spot, you can just whack, cut yourself a trail. Good way to remember how to get back too. Cut yourself a little trail. Alright, well, that's all for now. I just wanted to tell you be safe. And if you're out there soul hunting, pair up if you have a chance. Otherwise, could be you that's that cat's lunch, not that deer. Alright, and same with coyotes. Coyotes are pack animals. They'll come around and they'll mess you up. I already done lost one deer to a cat this year, so I'm gonna make sure that don't happen again. I found her den. She has 4 youngins. They're all about a year old. Still got some of their spots on them, and it's a good way to get yourself killed if you don't know what you're doing. Even carrying a gun. A rifle, you're never going to get a shot off on a rifle quick enough when a cat's jumping in at you. Unless you're a good hip shot like I am. So, these here, it's a Coleman's. It's very light duty. It'll throw, it'll stick. Don't ever throw it unless you have something tied to it. Because that's your line of defense.